welcome everyone to our CodeX group meeting. We have a great session today with Mathew Kerbis, who's a co-founder and a CEO of Practi, which offers an alternative to hourly billing, which is very timely in this day and age, of course, and looking forward to the discussions with you, Mathew. So we have this one session today, and Mathew said he's eager to kind of jump into discussion with the group. I think folks can unmute themselves. We set up the Zoom such that you can do that. Always welcome to use the chat if you have any questions. And in terms of our own announcements, people are registering for our Future Law Conference. All the pieces are coming together nicely. We're excited about Future Law, April 16th. So check it out, codexfuturelaw.com. All right, with that, again, welcome, Mathew. I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, Roland. Thank you to Stanford and the CodeX community and for everybody for having me. I last spoke to this community over 3 years ago. It was January of 23. I was almost a year into having my own subscription-based law firm, and that was getting some press. But since then, I have won a couple of awards for the practice and for my podcast, Law Subscribed, where I interview other lawyers or innovators in the space. I've had Megan Ma on the podcast, and really a lot of things came to a head over me teaching and teaching lawyers how to use AI and adopt alternative business models for their law firm, where it ended up being it was too much to like run a practice, have a podcast, do one-on-one coaching and all this teaching. So actually a software play kind of became became necessary to go from one to many and try to let other law firms and lawyers adopt the subscription model and alternative fee business structure for their practice. And just the way AI has been accelerating everything, there's a lot of pressure coming down on law firms from clients, both sophisticated and unsophisticated. So, Roland, you said it's very timely. I've been beating this drum for over 4 years. Just finally AI has gotten so good that it's really highlighting it. So with that, I am going to hop into just a quick presentation to set the table about what Practi is, talk about myself and my co-founder for a quick second, and then show off the product. But at any point in time, if folks have questions, and I see my co-founder, Shomari, is here too. If anyone has any questions, yep, there he is. Interrupt me, ask questions, disagree with me. It's okay. I've heard it all. So I'm happy to have lively debate if it comes to that. So with that, though, I will share my screen here just so I could show off the quick deck. All right. Okay. Just moving some things around on the screen here for me. Okay. So we're Practi, and we transform law firm revenue from hourly to subscription. Maybe you've asked yourself this. Maybe a client has asked this of you. Like, shouldn't my lawyer be using AI to save time and reduce my legal bill? Well, what Practi is we're that business model solution for this looming revenue crisis for billable hour law firms. That's because this community has probably already seen this graphic. Lawyers have 855, probably more, because this is like a month or two old now, this chart, legal AI tools available to them from almost 700 different companies, right? Last year alone, $6 billion was invested into the legal tech ecosystem, and a lot of that was AI related. And the data show that 80% of lawyers or more are using AI, whether it's these tools or the foundational tools. So they know that it's reducing the time it takes to get high quality work done. But what Practi is we are betting on a future where it doesn't matter if one of those legal AI solutions win, or if the foundational models win, with Claude and their legal plugins, right? We don't care. We know there will be winners, though. And so we are focused on building for what comes next. According to Clio's data, that they've taken their private data and applied it to the public data from ONET, and they found that AI can already automate 75% of law firm billable hours. It's a combination of lawyers and their staff, but that's revenue that's gone. So Practi, since we're trying to drive systemic change in the profession, and I've had my own practice and I have legal tech companies trying to sell me all the time, we're trying to make it really easy and really frictionless for lawyers to at least try this out and to get a sense of what the ROI is. That's why we let law firms sign up for free, create their account, build out subscriptions for free, and get on calls with me and other users on the platform so that we can strategize good subscription billing techniques and strategies. And then after that, while we're in this early access phase, we're just charging $20 a month, right? So like we're trying to keep it super affordable, super reasonable in these early stages. Later this year, it will go up to $100 a month. But even then, we only charge after the second client subscribes. We want to help law firms make more money before we even start charging anything. And I will say here, just to note at the bottom, we're our target market, we're trying to help the solo small firm attorneys. And we believe that with the Harveys and Lagoras of the world starting to go into enterprise markets, we believe, but part of the reason they're doing that is because big law won't need as many lawyers to continue to be big law and generate the revenues that they're generating in light of these AI efficiencies. So we're going to be there to help big law attorneys that either get fired or decide to get off the billable hour hamster wheel soon. And that's another reason for our pricing, is because we're really targeting those smaller law firms and the future smaller and solo law firms from attorneys who are leaving bigger law in light of these AI efficiencies.
Is this per seat pricing?
No, this is, right now this is per firm. Because again, we're targeting solo small firms. So realistically, for firms on our platform, to make it the way that the product is designed, they may only have a handful of attorneys. We have interest from one mid-sized firm, but the way that we might have to set it up to work for multiple attorneys would be it would ultimately mean they need multiple accounts. So while it's not like meant to be set up as per seat pricing, right now this is just per firm pricing with the expectation that most firms will be solos or smaller, or very much on the smaller side. Yeah.
Thanks.
Because we also predict that that's the future of actually what the vast majority of the of the law firm delivery model will be these solo and small firms in light of AI efficiencies and the ability to do more work at higher quality and faster. So we've been building since last fall. And my firm, Subscription Attorney LLC, has been using it exclusively to sign up and charge clients since November. So it's fun to be a guinea pig, eat your own dog food at your legal tech startup. But we soft launched just about a month and a half ago. So we've got some early traction. We're not spending any money on marketing yet. We still like having that direct communication with early users. But we've seen some good usage of the platform for just being like out of stealth mode for just a month and a half. Hang on a second. So for those of you who don't know me, I go by the Subscription Attorney. I adopted that brand about 4+ years ago. And I have a podcast, like I mentioned. I create a lot of content around this. I do a lot of teaching for free by CLEs and guest lecturing. I also do I've done paid workshops and trainings for bar associations and law firms. I am the subject matter expert in this space, but not just because of it's me and my stuff, but I have guests on my podcast. I've had over 100 lawyers who are leveraging subscription in some form or another. And then my technical co-founder, who again is here, Shamari Ewing, he's got over a decade of software development experience. He's worked at companies like Google and Amazon Web Services. And he also has an MBA and a sales background. So that's always nice to have a technical person who actually understands business. So again, we're Practi. We transform law firm revenue from hourly to subscription. And with that, I'll just show you the product, and I'll be happy to entertain any questions. Oh yeah, when I'm sharing my screen, it's hard for me to see the comments here. So let me look in the chat. Have you considered creating an insurance-based subscription-based scheme so that it aligns the ability to help people reduce their future prospective problems while not being compliant with unlicensed practice of law, while also providing leads for retrospective problems? So you're asking. So I mean, we are building a software solution that's essentially Shopify for SMB law firms. But you're asking about an insurance product. So I mean, look, if anyone's out there and they watch this on YouTube later, and you're a professional liability insurance carrier and you want to create a particular insurance product for something like this, I mean, we're happy to have a conversation. I think existing professional liability covers the type of work that's being done, especially when you have jurisdictions like my jurisdiction in Illinois that are changing their Rule 1.5 on fees to expressly allow alternative fees, and also it was I believe it was last year the Illinois Supreme Court promulgated Rule 300 to the rules of professional conduct, which say if you're not billing by the hour and you're using a fixed fee, you could recover that without tracking your time. So I think we're going to see a lot more jurisdictions allow for express adoption of alternative fees, even though you probably haven't read your rules on fees lately. If you are an attorney, a majority of them allow for fixed fees, and the way that I encourage lawyers use subscription is it's a recurring fixed fee, whether that be on a monthly basis, quarterly, or annually, right? But it's a recurring fixed fee. All right, so let me share the product now.
I think so. Yeah. So I think maybe I'm curious to see what you are gonna demo now. But one of the members of this community who works for a big law firm running AI and machine learning for them, she described a scenario where she said, okay, her firm is is helping companies in a cyber breach situation, right? They know the playbook. What do? You have to go to all the states and inform the authorities and so on, right? And it can quickly generate or cost a client like $1 million in legal fees, right? If you have a big cyber breach, right? And so they thought, well, what if we, instead of that, we have a product for our clients where the clients pay us, like, say, $100,000 a year as a subscription fee. So they will pay that even if there's no cyber breach, but if there's no cyber attack. But if there is a cyber attack, then the firm will handle everything, all the legal stuff that's entailed, right? And even if it costs them more than $100,000. But so I think that's kind of like going in that direction of like creating an insurance like type of, turning a legal service into like an insurance type kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's many kind of practice areas that are sort of accessible to that, but this cyber breach thing is like one, for example.
I think that's a fantastic example, and I think that it is legally separate and distinct from actual insurance, right? But having like a lawyer that you subscribe to that's in the problem avoidance space, that's in the fire prevention space, right? Rather than in the putting out fires, phase, or like, you only contact them when there's a problem, right? Because if that client is paying that law firm $100K a year minimum annual subscription, right? Yeah. Some membership benefits of that $100K a year better include we contact our lawyer to avoid ending up with a cybersecurity incident in the first place. I would hope so, right? Without being on the clock, because maybe it could be avoided. And then when you get to the costs part of that conversation, when you bill by the hour, it's hard to not think of things in terms of cost accounting with, that took 10 hours. My hourly rate is $1,000 an hour. So, like you do the multiple, right? Like, no, like that's what you would make. That's more opportunity cost than it is what your actual costs are. What your actual costs are, because you could not necessarily fudge the numbers, but depending on how you present the numbers with cost accounting, Ron Baker does a great presentation on this. So I highly encourage you to seek that out. He did it on my podcast last year. But it's what does it cost to run your business, to pay your people, to subscribe to your software, right? It's not about how long something takes. Then that's your cost. It's about what does it actually cost to pay your people and have your software subscriptions. And then if you're tracking time, it's not about how long it took. That cost us that much. It's about, okay, that took 10 hours. How do we make it take 9 hours, 5 hours, 10 minutes? Automate it, right? And if we can continue to charge and command that price because that's valuable for our client, then it doesn't matter how long it takes because we could try to automate it. So getting into the product, Practi.ai is the website. It's live. Lawyers could sign up. Again, it's free to set up your account. We're just getting the newsletter off the ground. If you wanted to sign up, you can, or you could even book a call with me and Shamari if you want to follow up. That's all on the website. When you make an account, I've just got a demo account set up here. You will be asked to either sign up for or connect your Stripe account. Right now, we're built on top of Stripe. Stripe's very secure. It's the leader in the space. It's one of the reasons why we're building on Stripe first. We have been asked, like, hey, will we integrate with other payment partners? And that's a maybe. We are still very early days in the first few months of operating as a company, so we want to stick with the best of the best for now. And so after you connect your Stripe account, this will be a blank page. But you could set this up before setting up your Stripe account. But we have some templates. The templates will get better over time, right? While Practi is not selling AI to law firms because there's enough of that already, like, we are using AI, right? We're like an AI native startup. Shomari is using Cursor and Claude and to build and ship features faster than we could. Pre-generative AI being useful for that. I'm using a boatload of AI tools. Notebook LM, Perplexity Pro are like my daily drivers, right? But that deck you saw earlier was Gamma, right? I'm using Gemini. I'm using a ton of AI. I think I'm at 27 right now. Whisperflow. Oh, if you haven't tried Whisperflow yet, highly, highly recommend. But in any event, we're going to be collecting data, of like what subscriptions are working. And so eventually we'll have some sort of AI recommendations on what templates could be. Right now, they're very generic, but some people find that it's easier to just add a template and then edit the template, right? So I just added homeowner basics. So you'll see here, homeowner basics is here. And if I wanted to now, I could come in and I could edit this instead of just starting from scratch. But for law firms that are already leveraging subscription or they already have some ideas, they could just add custom subscriptions. So the point is here is that we're trying to be flexible as possible for law firms to offer whatever sort of subscription packages they want without giving you so much freedom that it's paralyzing, right? So we just let you name it, put in a price. If you want to have a tagline or a description, or you just want to talk about the member benefits, right? So I'm showing you the demo on the back end. I will show some front end live pages of actual law firms, including my own, that are actually charging and what it looks like. But for this demo page, whenever you make a change in the back end, it automatically pushes it out to the front end. This is actually kind of zoomed in a lot on my end. So you'll see there's also standalone services down there. So we're not trying to replace law firm websites, by the way. Lawyers spend a lot of money on websites. So, and I'll get to what we're offering for those websites here. But to go back to those lawyers who I know are going to be leaving Big Law or leaving other firms and starting their own practice, they'll have a URL and a way to make money. And as long as they're registering with their state, setting up their law firm, and we have a lot of content forthcoming about how to actually set up your law firm, right? They're getting their malpractice insurance. Right? We don't help with the delivery or the business stuff, yet, but you're getting a URL. You're getting a way to actually start charging clients on a recurring basis. On this subscription.
So Matthew, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So you have some templates that you have thought through before, like, what would be, for example, like, a homeowners type of legal subscription. What would be in that, right? And so, but presumably, like, every firm's a little different in a sense of, like, the services they provide. And understanding it, like, because there's always like some things that are like just a repeat business, right, that they get all the time, the standardized stuff, and then some stuff that's like more bespoke, right? Do you go, like, with your customers, these law firms, do you go through like some kind of a discovery in a sense of like, oh, in your firm you might think about these parts of what you do as things that are even amenable to creating a subscription around, and here are the things that you should continue, handling in a sort of billable hour way. Is that part of what you offer?
So we're more software company right now than we are like consulting company, right? Like we're as we grow, we're going to be hosting weekly, just 30-minute Zoom meetings with me as a group, where we can talk those things through, because the chances are if one person's asking those questions, somebody else already is. But thanks to the power of AI, we actually have I've curated, it's right now it's over 250 sources, a lot of it my podcast, right, and CLE presentation materials that I've given, where you could come into this link and here for folks who are watching live and here at Zoom in the chat, I'll put it in the chat. You do have to be signed in to a Google account to access it because it saves your chat history, which you could delete if you want. You could ask it these questions, right? So like this is our like hack right now to be like, hey, I'm only available, once a week on these 30-minute Zooms with all the users. Well, you could ask this Notebook LM curated database that I've put together as the subject matter expert about, hey, I'm an immigration, right? So we could even, I'll just give an example. I'm an immigration attorney. Oh, actually, I'll use WhisperFlow. So for those of you who don't know what WhisperFlow is, you basically just talk to your computer. I'm an immigration attorney, and I'm not sure how I should price my subscription and/or fixed fee packages. What do you recommend? And this is Notebook LM. If you haven't come across Notebook LM yet, it's by far the best tool for $14 a month. This version that I'm using to do a forward-facing sharing version of AI for Notebook LM, you have to do it from a Gmail account because Workspace and Enterprise and School accounts don't let you share outside your organization. So it's $20 a month to have up to 300 sources and higher usage limits. So here you go. Immigration attorneys often use different pricing models like that. And then it's telling you where it's pulling from for the actual sources, right? And that's really important. Now, we are playing with whether or not we want to let people see the sources, but it's going to be able to tell you where that information's coming from, and it's not just like a made-up thing, right? It's not like just a chatbot making it up. And actually, I think I want to share. I know I'm doing this live, but I'm gonna share more than just this notebook for this audience here. Hang on a second. So I'm moving it from chat only to full notebook. Bear with me here because we did just build this out by request. And so some of these, here, I'll refresh this now. So I just sort of open this up a little bit. Answer again. Give examples, please. So what's great about Notebook is you could create like resources on the side here. Yeah, well, it's a good thing Notebook LM isn't my product because it seems to be having some issues right now. But that's our stopgap measure, Roland. In the future, we'll have more, I'll either be more available or we'll be able to productize those features a little bit more.
But so basically, you're creating a platform where these different subscriptions can be offered through.
All of them. However you want to structure it, that's the idea, right? Because like you said, there's different practice areas, there's different sizes, there's different ideal clients that law firms are serving. So we believe we've built a flexible enough platform that you can showcase whatever sort of subscriptions you want, right? Here's Next Step Legal. This is a live firm on that's you could go to right now and you could check them out, right? And you could see. I'm signed in a second here. I'll sign out. I just want to keep showing the back end a little bit because if you're signed in as a law firm, you can't actually subscribe to other law firms. You have to be not signed in or signed in as a client. So before I sign out, I just want to show some folks here. You put your engagement terms in here. And so, again, not giving legal advice, but just suggesting as a best practice, it's always good to have, and we do allow $0 a month subscriptions, so I don't recommend it. I recommend at least $1 a month for fixed fee shops. They're like, oh, because we've had some people, hey, I mostly just do fixed fee. Well, you could still engage your client. They'll agree to your subscription terms, even if it's for $0. They'll agree to your engagement terms, even if it's for $0 or $1 a month. But then you could always go and follow up with them to have customized engagement terms that amend that, right? But this way, they're going to be able to see what your engagement terms are when they sign up, right? So you can copy and paste those in there. And by the way, mine are available for free at subscriptionattorney.com/#engagement. I put them out there for my clients, but I also put it out there for other lawyers that want to adapt it to their jurisdiction. So then there's the fixed fee services, right? We don't have templates for this yet, but that may be coming in the future. But for those fixed fee, one-off transactional things that you want to charge to clients that aren't included, this is where you could build out those services as well. You could track the revenue that you're getting through your firm. This is a demo account, so I'm not showing you a live firm account. We don't have that fixed fee revenue showing in the demo account. Shamari, that's something to figure out maybe for the next presentation we give. but we let you track the revenue. We let you see the clients and what they're subscribed at. We let you manage the clients. So the clients can sign in, and I'll show you what the client side dashboard looks like in a second. We're almost at time. So, we have a widget button that you could use on a website where you could come to the website and you could click sign up. And I just want to be respectful of people's time. And then this is the same checkout page if they were to click out on your Practi page, right? So like if I've spent a lot of money on my website, we still let you connect it to your actual site. And if you've ever checked out with Stripe before, that's going to look very familiar to you. And then we let firms link back to their website and put in like a scheduling link for their Calendly or something like that, right? Again, I want to be respectful of everyone's time. There's basic settings you could add here, but again, we're not trying to replace anyone else, like the rest of your tech stack. We're just trying to be a super simple, easy to use subscription revenue management platform. So with that, Shamari, thanks for answering people in the chat here.
Yeah, Shamari, I think thank you so much. It seems like you tried to answer most of the questions that people in the group asked.
Yeah, if you have any other, go for it, Matthew. If you have anything to add to what I've said.
I'm going to need to catch up on it. Let me see.
Same here.
Wow.
But there was, just so it's just kind of.
So in the same way that I've curated that notebook, that like RAG-based chatbot for users of Practi to query against the database of curated sources that I've provided, we're giving that away for free for now, right? I mean, we're still sort of testing it. So you all got an early sneak peek at what that looks like. But that's, I think, the value of subject matter experts, be they attorneys or any other subject matter expert in this AI automated supercharged power world. It's taste that the people have taste and they maybe like working with somebody, like it's relationship, it's taste, and it's curation. I think those are the future superpowers of lawyers and professional service providers. And it doesn't make sense to charge by the hour for those things because that doesn't take a long time. It might take years to acquire taste and years to acquire an understanding to be a good curator. But once you have that expertise and that taste that people are willing to pay for, I think subscription makes the most sense, and it's made sense before AI. But we know, I just want to end with this, and then I'll take any, people could unmute and ask questions. We know that the time is ripe for subscription-based legal services because already today, if somebody has an AI subscription that they're paying for, they are asking it for legal advice. And it's maybe giving them legal information in exchange and giving a disclaimer that says contact a lawyer. My firm has gotten inbound from those types of communications, right, that clients are having with their AI tool before they contact you. But we already know that between $20 and $200 a month is a price point people are willing to pay. They are asking these AI tools for legal advice. So I think that means the profession has to be ready to find a way to adapt the subscription model to their practice. So with that, I'll open it up for questions from the audience.
Thank you, Matthew. Yeah, so Abid asked a good question, which Shamari, I think, answered already. But I think the question is, what happens to the law firm pyramid if AI compresses junior associate level work into AI systems? Do we need to train them differently? Or a different revenue model entirely, to some degree. I don't know how you're thinking about that, right? Like I agree with your premise that there will be a move away from the billable hour, which we have seen already, alternative fee arrangements, right? So flat fee billing and so on, where the firm is encouraged to be more, productive, with its human resources. But there's also, the question of what is the role of the human lawyer going forward, right? Like as AI can handle more and more legal tasks and, do so more and more reliably, but there is still this human oversight layer that's needed, right? And so, maybe, the subscription at the end will be for that human oversight, right? regardless of how it's paid, it is for that human oversight and context awareness. I don't know. Do you have any?
Yeah, there's a 3-tiered subscription like way to price your anything, right, in subscription, especially in the services space. In the software space, there's good, better, best. And that can work with law firms. But I think what works with law firms even better for simple 3-tiered pricing, though we certainly see more nuanced on Practi, and I've interviewed lawyers who have more nuanced approach than this, but this is a good starting point for some law firms, is the do-it-yourself, done with you, done for you, 3-tiered pricing structure, right? And you charge more. And for the do it done for you, top tier pricing structure, you don't just charge a simple multiple. That's going to be many multiples more than the do it yourself and done with you service, right? And sometimes that might even be faster service. For most clients, not certain contexts, and I've done both of the contexts where slower is better, foreclosure defense, sometimes insurance defense, right? If they get results faster, that's actually more valuable to them. There's a UK expert in this space, Sean Hardeen, who talks about how giving 3-tiered pricing to your client for fixed fee pricing, he's more on the fixed fee pricing side of things. And he's like, if they need it and if you have a month to work on it, it's the lowest price. If you wanted to get it to them by next week, that's a mid-tier price. If you want a super multiple and they need it, in 48 hours, and they're willing to pay that super high multiple, you give them that choice, right? And in his coaching of lawyers, he's on record saying how clients do pick the more expensive option to get things faster. And so sometimes faster is more valuable, and clients are willing to pay more for it than what you'd make on the billable hours. So I still think that there's that side of it. I think the learning, right, going back to that part of your question, is how do lawyers learn if they're not junior lawyers because that junior work can be automated by AI? Well, how do lawyers learn now? They learn because they do some work, they send it to the partner, and the partner marks it up and gives it back to them. And it rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat and rinse and repeat. You're going to be doing that with these AI tools. But instead of it taking hours and days and weeks and months to learn, we're going to compress that time. I'm using 3 AI tools, well, 4 if you include Whisperflow, but 3 that are actually doing helping me with my substantive legal work daily. And that's Perplexity Pro, Notebook LM Pro, and Paxton. I don't know if you guys have had Paxton on. They're a legal AI company. They've raised some money. They have their own legal large language model in addition to being multi-model. And so I'm using these 3 tools as though I have 3 team members, and sometimes I have multiple tabs open for multiple different files, and I'm just going back and forth with these AI tools. And I'm learning things, maybe about a particular nuance for a particular contract that maybe I didn't know before, because I've got over a decade of legal experience. But I think you're going to see this learning compact as new lawyers learn to use these legal-specific AI tools. Yeah, Benjamin.
Ben.
So what I like to tell people is the calculator didn't get rid of accountants, right? And it may be the case that we have a legal text calculator, but that's only part of the profession. Part of it is knowing sort of the series of events that's going to follow. So there is no explicit law that says, don't put soap on the floor. But we all know if you have soap on the floor and somebody's walking by, they may very well slip on that soap, right? And the number of ways that you can foresee or negligence being unforeseen is almost limitless, and you can't just explicitly put it into an AI such as this. And I think that with regards to the representation, a lot of the representation has to do with being able to foresee the results of the consequences of your actions and other people not being happy with it. And I feel like that human factor is going to be needed. And it's just going to take the role of the legal text calculator, right? Where we all want to know what the rules of the game are. We should all sort of agree, but that doesn't tell me how I'm going to interact with the world and how I'm going to resolve conflicts with people in that world.
Yeah, I think that's I don't think the role of the lawyer is going anywhere. I just think it's going to be different, right? I mean, if you think about, pre-motor vehicle, it was people's jobs to shovel horse manure out of the roads, right? I don't think anyone's complaining that work has gone away. It used to be somebody before electricity. It was someone's job to replace oil in lanterns at establishments, right? No one's complaining that job has gone away, right? And so I think that the writing things from scratch that we do as lawyers And not, we don't always write from scratch. We write from templates or similar docs, or, we find other ways to do this. Maybe we have automations built out in a tool like Gavel or something, right? But we're still like doing a lot of manual work. And I think all that gets automated, and we're building time for it. And clients are paying it, but they'd rather not, right? Paige has their hand raised.
Yeah.
Hi. This reminds me of, and sort of what touches on what you were just saying about Benjamin's question as well. It's felt like the billable hour as we know it has been going the way of the dinosaur for a while. And I feel like this new age we're in is just really, it feels like what rideshare did to the taxi system, where it just fundamentally undermined the basis of the whole system in a way that it had to change largely. So I'm curious what you see going, where you see the future of the billable hour and these alternative structures, like what you see the new standard being. For some context there, like I've worked in, I'm not an attorney, I'm a paralegal, and I've worked in many I've worked in areas of law that are very much billable hour dependent. I've worked in other areas where it's only flat fee models. Nobody's doing hourly. So where do you see kind of the new standard for fee structure and the billable hour being in 10 years?
Yeah, so I've been having a lot of conversations on my podcast about this lately, and I tend to record live on LinkedIn, and people are giving the estimate, not me, although I agree with the estimate, 3 to 5 years, and the billable hour will no longer be the dominant business model in 3 to 5 years, right? And again, that's just sort of like experts like pulling their opinion out of where, but like we just like our intuitive sense of like 3 to 5 years before it's not the dominant business model. The reason it's survived for so long, even though people have said it's going to go away, is partially because it's been profitable despite there being better ways. But that profit number is going to start going down. So to make up for it, rates will go up, right? The Wall Street Journal article, $3,400 an hour is out there now, billable rates out there. But eventually when push comes to shove, and it's my CLEs, I actually give math examples of like, if you really have a 90% time savings, you're going to have to 50x your rate. And $25,000 an hour for 500, going from 500 an hour is probably an unreasonable fee, and certainly no client's going to want to pay it, right? So like you have certain like economic forces at play here, finally, thanks to AI efficiencies being exponential. I think that the reason flat fee has not supplanted billable hours is because of the underscoping, overscoping problem. And I get this question all the time from lawyers who are like, well, I'm not sure what to do. I'm in litigation, or I'm in complicated M&A transactions. And like, how am I supposed to handle it if things start taking a lot longer or if it gets more complicated? That's what subscription tiers are for, right? And your engagement agreement could say, okay, it's an uncontested divorce, it's $2,000 a month. If it goes to contested, it goes up to $5,000 or $10,000 a month, right? So like, that's what subscription tiers are for. And if it's even less complicated than we thought it was, we bump you down to tier 1, right? You go down to subscription level. So the subscription solves the underscoping, overscoping problem. At least it solves it as close, I think, as we can, right?
Yeah.
And then you're incentivized to just use the tech, use the tools, and adopt the technology. Like, we're not selling AI, but we are friends with every legal AI company. Why? Because we want the lawyers to use the tech, because we think, like, I think ethically, just my opinion, not ethics advice, Rule 1.5, comment 5, I believe for the model rules, it's comment 5, says you can't bill and use wasteful procedures if you're billing by the hour. That's the implicit, if you can use AI to make 10-hour tasks take 10 minutes, you have to do it. It's already in our ethics. It's just not being enforced right now. So, yeah, I think it's just a matter of time for that. Sorry, Roland, go ahead. I know we're over time.
We're 10 minutes over time. It's such a fascinating discussion. And, not just, your business, which I think is very interesting and really sort of showing a path forward for the legal service delivery. But everything else you taught us about thinking about how to kind of measure, the value that lawyers provide and scoping and all of that. So I think there was a lot of interesting stuff there. I really appreciate you coming to join the group today and giving us an update and telling us about Practi. Please keep us posted in the future. And yeah, everyone else, thank you for all the great questions and the good conversation. And look forward to seeing you all next time.